Animal Engineering. On this episode I am going to get the body back on the chassis. Now that I've got the fuel tank in there, I'll get a better idea of what the actual floor level inside the van is going to be. It's been a while since the van was actually on the chassis. A lot has happened, like these front supports for the shocks. Last time the body was on the chassis, they did not exist. It did fit on before with the little wing thing I had coming off the engine, but these front bars here weren't there, so I'm expecting we might have to do a bit more chopping to the old van. So those little wing bits there, I think we're probably going to end up having to trim a bit off them, but we won't really know. So last time I had it sitting on the chassis, you could see like a little sliver of the chassis underneath, which didn't really faze me too much. But if I can't get enough headroom, because I need to be able to stand up inside this thing, I'm going to end up having to lift the body up, and then probably going to have to chop the bottom of the van off and actually redo the whole bottom of the van. The very back section of the van actually steps up a bit anyway, and I'm not going to be running a bumper, so I'm probably going to have to extend that anyway, just so it's flat with the rest. The front was a bit funky under the grille from memory. I'm going to use the factory bumper up the front. But yeah, really just need to get it back on the chassis so I can have a look and see how much work I have. I'm hoping I can get away. Without having to remake all that along the bottom. Wheel arches I'll be able to save, but all that bottom's crap. So we'll get this chassis out of the way, and then we'll get the body up in the air and get her on there. Was a bit of a mission getting that back on, just the way I had it set up to pull off last time. I do remember now when I took it off last time thinking when I put it back on it was going to be a nightmare, which it was, but good to see it back on the ground again. They haven't been together for quite some time, and good news is that when we get inside and stand on top of the fuel tank, I do still have reasonable clearance above my head. Not massive amount, but yeah, much. So At the moment the body is sitting hard on the chassis, so I need to lift it up a bit, just so there's a bit of a gappage there. So by the time I lift that up a little bit, it's going to raise the roof a little bit inside, and then the floor is going to be, you know, maybe an inch higher than the actual top of the tank, because they've got the fuel centre and stuff in there. So I think by the time the body comes up and we do the floor, we should be in pretty good shape. Should be able to walk around inside the whole van. The hump going over the rear diff and axle area should be pretty minimal. Looking at it now, that should only be maybe 4 inches, if that. So generally speaking, it should be pretty flat. The rear floor section right at the back there, that's going to carry on straight over the air tanks and everything. So really, it'll be the steps when you come into the van, and the whole floor should be flat, and there'll be a nice little rolled area over that centre, and then obviously tubs for the wheels, and then we'll get the seats in the middle. Standing on top of the tank at the moment, and there's a reasonable amount of room there, which is awesome, and that's basically the whole floor is going to be that level. Yeah, I didn't have to trim these pieces up anymore, which is good. That all just sort of went in there and missed everything quite nicely. I'll probably come in and possibly remake these pieces anyway, because that's got a big sort of 90 there, which it doesn't need. I might try and make it a bit more curved, make it a bit nicer. Yeah, inside it's all missing that front little bit. Pretty stoked with that, really. I don't have to do any major mods to the bottom of the van. Even the front bumper there, just sort of got that sitting there for now. It's going to come up a little bit. We should close that hole up, and then I'll probably just put some black mesh or something in there just to tidy that little bit up. I'm going to put the rear bumper on. So the rear bumper is going to need a little bit of modification. I'm going to have to scallop out underneath the lights and tweak it a bit. Originally it actually went underneath the van body and actually curled in a bit, so it's sort of hugging it and won't go all the way in. So I'll probably just dock the ends off as far back as it needs to so it can push forward. It's going way forward, which it doesn't need to do. It's just a little bumper at the back. So yeah, moving forward, basically just going to get some body mounts, and then got some steel and stuff here. We can start actually making the floor up, making the tubs and everything. I'm going to start from the back, move forward, because I still don't 100% know what I'm going to do for the dash. I know I want it to be styly, just don't know. It's just going to evolve into whatever it evolves into, I feel. I'm terrible at drawing, so yeah, struggle to even draw a stick figure, let alone design a dash up and draw stuff. So it would be nice to have some kind of render or design drawn up, but something to work from. This is hectic. Wiring. Magic Pixie's doing crazy stuff that no one knows about. So I started getting my head around. Got the ECU master controller up there. Started getting my head around that. I've got a lot of stuff programmed already. But then I've got this harness, which is out of the Commodore. and I've got to try and get the factory air conditioning working. So that runs off a CAN bus system, which I was hoping I could just separate out the wires, you know, just the wires that were from it. But in the Holden, it all goes through the actual radio stereo unit, and then disappears to places that you just wouldn't expect it to go to, and then it uses the Holden's body control module. And the aircon's got its own little control module, but I've been googling the crap out of that, trying to find what the wires do, and can't find anything anywhere. No forums, nothing actually mentions it, so that's a bit of a bummer. Because I've got this unit here. So basically that's the whole dash thing out of the Commodore. Got the pedals and that on that side, and then this unit. So I was going to try and harvest as much as I can from this, but I've got this little wiring harness down here, the wires that go into the little control module, and I've searched and searched and searched, and I cannot find any information as to what those wires do, which is a real pain in the ass. So I was hoping to just tap into that. As it stands at the moment, it's got 4 little motors. They all have 5 wires going to them. So I think at the moment it's looking like I'm going to have to ditch its own little control thing and tap into these motors and try and work out what wires go do what on the motors. And mission, absolute bloody nightmare. But this whole van process is a big learning curve, so might as well throw some wiring and stuff in there as well. So yeah, just a quick little update. Van's back on the ground. Crap that I'm doing during the week after work and then on the weekends, and maybe just whatever I do during the week, even if I don't finish something, I might just put a quick little video up, and then yeah, then got something coming up, rather than just sort of waiting and doing things, you know. Otherwise I go a couple of months or a few weeks or whatever without actually posting anything up. So let us know if you think that's a good idea, and we'll see you on the next one.